title is Undercurrents. Undercurrents. And as I started last week talking about undercurrents, we realized the undercurrents are those things that occur in our lives, just like an undercurrent in water. There are things that are happening in the undertow, underflow of the water that you don't see on top of the water. And so it is in the spirit realm. There are things that are happening underneath. You know, people might have underlying motives that you don't see. We call those undercurrents. So that's what this entire series is about. It is focused on spiritual warfare, okay? John 1:5 says, the light shines in darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. That's our core scripture for this entire series, and I get excited every time I read that. I wish y'all would really take that in, said that the darkness can never, ever extinguish it, never put me out, because I am the light. He can never put me out. It doesn't matter what he brings against me or what he tries to do to try to discourage me. He can never put me out. Anybody, can y'all receive that today? So the goal of the enemy, as we talk about spiritual warfare, he always has a goal. He doesn't do anything just to do it, okay? He has a purpose and a plan behind everything that he does. And his number one plan I want to talk about doing this series is to distract you from what God has called you to do. So I need you to write that down, that the enemy's plan is to distract me from what God called me to do. We spend a lot of time ministering to other people, witnessing to other people, but he wants to distract me. Lay hands on yourself. Say, he wants to distract me. So how does Satan do that? Satan infiltrates our lives with obstacles and threats, things to make us feel like that we have missed God's leading. He tries to distract us with problems and issues in our lives to make us feel like we're not operating in God, because somewhere along the line we think to operate in God, everything has to be perfect. And we know that's not true, but that's what the world teaches, and sometimes we kind of, believe that ourselves. If something is bad, then it must not be God. But here it is that Satan infiltrates these obstacles and threats. Our position in this is to put Satan under our feet. And I need y'all to talk back to me. My position is to put Satan where? Because that's where he belongs. Throughout this entire series, we're going to talk about putting him back in his place. How does he keep from getting under our feet? We're going to talk about that, because he keeps escaping. So we have to make sure that he stays under our feet, and that's Romans 16:20. It said, the God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. The grace of our Lord Jesus be with you, that we have authority. Why? Why does he need to be under our feet? Why are we in spiritual warfare? Why are we in a battle? Constantly seem like it's ongoing over and over again. It is because we're on the front lines. The front lines, why? To keep our faith relevant. Why? To keep our faith relevant. I'm fighting to keep my faith relevant. I said that 3 times because I want that to go home in your mind. It's not, he doesn't want your car. He doesn't want your job. He doesn't want your kids. Believe you love him like that, but Satan don't want your kids, okay? But what he does want is to make your faith irrelevant. So if you have been believing God and praying and standing in the gap, especially for your children, your family, he wants to make your faith out to be a liar. He wants to make you irrelevant. So that's his goal. We're on the front line. We're fighting to make sure that we keep our faith alive, okay? So here we are today, part 2, as we get into Make It Make Sense. I started thinking about all the things we fight about, and I want to introduce some terms, and if y'all will allow me to break this down like I feel it, I'm going to give y'all some really good information today to kind of stir you up. So the purpose of this entire series is to stir you and to make you think. My job is not to tell you what to think, but to cause you to think. Do you understand the difference? I'm not to tell you what to do, but to cause you to think about your choices. So here it is. We're fighting Satan. When we talk about our enemy, he has a lot of different names. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but we're talking about a host. Satan is not one person. Sometimes we act like he is. We act like he operates to one person, and we call them Satan, and we deal with them accordingly. But really, Satan in a satanic, it is a host of obstacles. It's a host of opposition. It's not just one way. He comes at so many different ways at us that sometimes it's difficult to even identify who he is, because it can be overwhelming at times. Is that right? So here it is. Satan is God's adversary. Just let me review this little piece. And because we are God's prized possession in creation, he's our adversary also. So what does that mean? We were born into this battle. That's what I need y'all to understand. We didn't get a choice. We were born into this battle. Why? Because we are God's creation. He made us. Now, what happens as we grow and formulate, we then make a decision whose side we're going to be on. But we're born right in the middle of this battle. We're born with a purpose and a destiny on our lives, and we have to make the decision, are we going to fulfill that purpose, or will we succumb to it and allow Satan to have his way? Now, what that looks like, that Satan and God both are spirits. I need that to be clear. They both are spirits, and they both operate through earthly beings. They both operate through earthly beings. That's me and you. So what does that look like? They're at opposite side, opposing ends, and here it is, we're in the middle. So there's a battle over the ones who are in the middle. I feel God already. There's a battle over you and I. Can you believe that? That there's a constant fight right now while you're sitting in here or while you're watching this over you, little old you, because God has such big plans for your life. Now, here it is, because there's a battle over you, 2 Corinthians 11:13-15 says, and I'm just going to read a portion of this. I want you to write it down so you can read it later. And it says, and it is no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. So it is not surprising if the servants also masquerade as ministers of righteousness. So masquerade, we know that he pretends to be something. A masquerade means you put on a mask and you look like something else, but that's not the real you. So here it is, it says that he masquerades as an angel of light. Now, wait a minute. If we are light, because I told you last week that we are light, right? And that we're set on a hill that we cannot be hid. Do y'all remember that? So if we are light, is Satan pretending to be one of us? Come on, I need y'all to get this. So he pretends to be one of us so that he could lure us over to his side, because remember, we stand in between God and Satan. Is this making sense? So here it is. How does he do it? As he masquerades, he then comes and he releases devices in our lives and different obstacles and issues in our lives to get us to lose the sense and the fact of who we really are, because he starts to look like us. He starts to sound like us. He hangs around us. He pretends to be one of us, and we're lured into his devices. Is this making sense? Come on, make it make sense. So here, Ephesians 6:11-12. This is not my core scripture, but I always like to use it when we talk about fighting and warfare. It's a very popular scripture. It says, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand, I think King James says, against the wiles of the devil, all of his tactics and things. And you can read the rest of that before we wrestle. I'm not going to get into that. But put on the whole armor that you be able to stand. So what does that mean? He's coming to knock us down. He's coming to take us out of the game. So here it is. The word says that you may be able to stand. Now, as we start this journey, I need you to say that this battle is bigger than I thought. I need you to know that this battle is bigger than I thought. I realized that we've been talking about the names of God recently in this church, and I've seen it on social media, and I've seen it out that people are talking about the names of God, and through prayers, people are releasing and they're learning. So today, I want to tell you that Satan has names also. And the reason we use the name of God is to be able to apply his right characteristic to whatever situation, right? So we're talking a Jireh, we need provision. We're talking about Jireh, right? So you know that. So here it is with Satan also. There's certain things that you fight with that you can't identify. You're like, I feel like I'm wrestling this. I know it's Satan, but he has names that you can address and know exactly what host you're dealing with. Remember, it's not one person. It's not one issue. There's a host that is against you. Are y'all getting this today? So here it is. The name Satan is a Hebrew word that means accuser. It means adversary. It means opponent. It's a Hebrew word. And by now, you know Hebrew is Old Testament, right? So here it is that we're in this multifaceted battle being waged in an unseen realm with Satan, the adversary, the accuser, the opponent, in an unseen realm who is plotting against you and I. So some of the other names that we use that are common, devil, right? We call him the devil. I want you to know, write down Revelation 12:9. This is for your own study later, that devil is translated in the Greek as slanderer. So when people talk and gossip, that's really devil and not Satan. So come on, I'm trying to help you, because the slanderer is to use your name without permission. Come on now. I need y'all to get this. And so here it is. He's also the accuser. I'm only going to give you a little bit of this. He's the accuser. That's Revelation 12:10. And that's when you feel like things come against you, when you haven't done anything. And you're just like, I just don't know. I feel like people are mad at me and I didn't do anything. Or people are treating me funny. Now, you know, when you did something, you got to get it right. But that's the accuser. And you have to recognize and deal with that host accordingly, and not put it in a general category. Say, this is the accuser. I know what that is. So when you pray and you go to God, you have to tell him, I need you to put the accuser back under my feet. Oh, come on. Can we go a little further? He also is called Belial. And many people might not have heard that. That's 2 Corinthians 6:15 and Nahum 1:15. And Belial just means wicked. It just means wicked. Now, when things happen, come on, you know there's some crazy stuff be happening in the atmosphere. Y'all gonna tell the truth today? There's some things that happen that you can't even identify. You're like, what in the world is going on? It doesn't feel right. You can walk in some environments. Are y'all telling the truth today? And it does not agree with your spirit. It is not anybody acting out, but you can feel the weight of the demonic forces. Is it just me? Okay, that's Belial. You can go in some environment, you can go in some people's houses, and there's no peace because Belial has taken up residence there. Why? Because he's wicked. And wherever he is, he releases the whole atmosphere to wickedness. Can we go a little bit further? I'm just going to give you 3 more, and we're going to get into this because time is moving fast. He's the prince of the world. That's John 12:31. He's the father of lies. Now, y'all better know already where that goes. So you talking about, I don't know why people lie. People lie because the father of lies has provoked them to lie. It is not their normal nature. We are not born in the nature to lie. It is him who comes, who engulfs us with his presence and causes us to feel pressured that there's a need to lie. Are y'all getting that? So I know this is where sometimes the saints get trapped up, because saints feel like they can lie if it's convenient. You know, like you can lie on your taxes, you know, because I'm going to give my tithe to the church. So, I mean, that sometimes the saints feel like that. Y'all better tell the truth in here today. That's John 8:44. He's also the God of this age. And that's 2 Corinthians 4:4. And this is what Jesus refers to him as, the God of this age. Because what does that mean? His hand is so engulfed and infused in society. He's everywhere. Are y'all getting this? He's almost in everything. And there are undercurrents, because it looks like it is something that's so common. It looks like it's something so regular until we adjust to it. But Jesus said that he is the God of this age. Last one, Lucifer. That's a popular name that we like to use. And I'm just helping y'all, because when you're praying, you need to know you got to call them demons out by name. That Lucifer means in the Hebrew, morning star. Now wait, if we are the light and the morning star technically is the sun, come on, you better know. So here it is that Satan has the ability to shine like we do. Oh, come on, people of God. He has the ability to shine just like we do. And so it's easy for us to get tripped up because he's bright like us. And, you know, we can get caught up in that. And so these are all of the characteristics or ways in which he can formulate and modify his presence to confuse us. So here it is. Satan, meanwhile, what he does, he formulates and changes so that he can attempt to oppose every idea of God. That's his purpose, remember? Because it's him on one side and God on one side, and his job is to oppose every idea of God. Now, lay hands on yourself, because I need you to get this, and I need you to say that I am God's idea. I need y'all to get this, because his job is to oppose you, because you are God's idea. Don't you know that God had you on his mind even when he formed you? He told Jeremiah, before you were even in your mama's daddy, I formed you. You were on my mind. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, that he thinks about you. Are you getting this today? So here it is that God's ideas, his goal or his purpose is to cancel every single idea of God. So he wants to cancel you out. Come on, lay hands on yourself again. You need to know that I am God's idea. He doesn't want you to believe that, so he spends a lot of time trying to make you feel less than and that you are not God's idea. But you didn't create yourself. On your best days, you didn't. I promise you didn't. God created you in his image. He said he created you. And so God had thoughts about you, what your expected end would be like. That's what Jeremiah says, that he thinks good thoughts toward you and that he has an expected end. I am God's idea. So what Satan does, because God thinks about you and not him, he's jealous. And with all his names comes some characteristics. Can I give you a couple? And I promise we're going to move on in this. First thing that Satan does to the God idea, he's a tempter. So he tries to tempt you, God ideas. He wants to tempt you with whatever is attracted to you. So whatever he uses to tempt me is not necessarily what he will use to tempt you. You need to know the difference, because we can turn our nose up sometime at some situations and be like, well, that don't bother me. That might not be your vice, but you better believe he's coming for yours too. So when you understand that, you realize that Mark 4:1-11, read that in your own time, said that Christ, even Christ, come on now, had to face him as the tempter, but he remained sinless. So he comes to try to tempt you, to get you to move. And I love the way they put that. That means we have a choice to enter in, to engage or not. You have the option. Are y'all getting that? Because with every temptation, it also comes what? A way of escape. Come on, Bible people. With every temptation comes a way of escape. Matthew 17 says that with temptation, he also can bring sickness to mankind. He can bring illness. This can be physical and this can be emotional. And I want you to get that, or mental, because once he has control of your physical body or control of your mental body, most of us will stop pursuing or pushing God. And so if he makes you feel bad enough, which is what he tried to do to Job. Are y'all hearing me today? If he pushes you bad enough that you will forget and you will walk away from your divine purpose that God has instituted before you even got here. Why? Because you got to make it make sense. Everything that you're going through, I know you're looking at God, God, I need you to make this make sense, because I don't understand why I'm battling this. But when you understand that all of this is a part of his plan, these are undercurrents that he releases in the earth to keep you from moving forward. Can I go just a little bit? Are y'all tired of hearing? Y'all ready to move on? Okay, make it make sense. Satan also, and now listen, this is Revelation 16:12-14. See, I give a lot of word during this time. We don't get to do this on Sundays because, you know, people want you to hit it and move on. But this is the time that you get a chance to go back and read these scriptures so that you can get the fullness of what this message is saying. So Revelation 16 says Satan and demons, they also perform miraculous signs. And I need you to know that, yes, he's a tempter. Yes, he can make you sick, but he also can fool you. So if you don't have discernment, he can perform miraculous signs. If you don't believe it, you can even look in the Old Testament. He can perform miraculous signs. He did the same thing. He created serpents as well. Come on now. Y'all better understand this. Pharaoh had magicians that can do some of the same stuff. When you understand that, you have to know the difference when when God's hand is in something and when Satan's hand is in something. And when you know the difference, you will move accordingly. But all of these are his characteristics, and there's so many more. I will share some more next week. That's all I'm going to give you today. I want to give you 3 allies of Satan, and we'll get some more into the names and characteristics next week. Is this good to y'all? We don't spend a lot of time talking about this. We spend a lot of time talking about naming and claiming and you know, destinies and purpose, and that's great. But you need to know what's fighting you from getting to those things. Something is preventing you. Now, Satan has 3 allies. I told you that Satan comes in a host. Just like there's a host of angels, and though a host in camp, come on now, y'all better know me. You better know the word, right? So just like angels come in host, demons come in host, and Satan come in host also. He never travels alone. Say that he never travels alone. So here it is. He has 3 allies I want to introduce to you today. And the first set of allies are called fallen angels. And this is found in Revelation 12:4, and it talks about, remember when it talked about Satan falling, that he fell with one third of heaven's angels, 1/3 switch sides. Y'all need to hear this. 1/3 of the people who believed in God. Y'all want to talk about what you see right now? Y'all don't hear me. We talk about how many people have fallen away from their faith. We talk about how many people have walked away as a result of the pandemic, how many people are on the edge. But 1/3 of those who were in heaven with God, who worshiped him every single day, walked away. Why? At the influence of Satan. Come on. You got to understand that Satan has a lot of influence, because we act like sometimes that we're exempt. But 1/3, and y'all think about those numbers, 33.3 out of 100. 33 people said, I'm done with you, God, if you look at it that way, and walked away with Satan because of his influence. Satan has influence. So fallen angels are his first level of an ally. They are on his side. They believe the hype. He got them, whatever he said, I don't know what he said, but whatever he did, he got them to switch to the other side. The second level of ally is called the Antichrist. And I want you to add an S on the Antichrist, because somewhere along the line we have gotten this idea that the Antichrist is one person, that, you know, it's going to be a rise. Like people thought our last 45 was the Antichrist. People said that. And I'm like, no, he's not the Antichrist. He might be operating with them fallen angels. I'm just saying. But, you know, he's not the Antichrist. So I want to give you, there are 2 categories of Antichrist. And I'm doing this to broaden your horizon so you understand that the Antichrist is a king, it's a kingdom, or a ruler that will arise to oppose God's work, and is an ally of Satan. It can be a kingdom, an entire kingdom. It can be a ruler. It can be a king. Any person in leadership is one aspect of the Antichrist. The second part of the Antichrist is a specific individual. It can be individuals who oppose the work of God, can be the Antichrist. So with those definitions, you realize that it's not just one person. It is not even one generation, but how the Antichrist can move from generation to generation. Are you getting this? That's the second level of Satan's allies. The third level of Satan's ally are demons. And I want to slow this down a little bit, because sometimes we use the term demon and Satan interchangeably. But Satan is the head, the HN. Yeah, he's the one in charge, okay? And demons, now let me break this down, are lower level minions. Let me say it like that. They are lower level minions that that control individual personalities. So what he does, he has lower level workers, and that's what demons are, and they control personalities. Now they are dispatched and geographically, they are dispatched culturally, they are dispatched relationally. And I need y'all to understand that it's not just one big hole and they just come. No, they show up in relationships. They show up in culture. And they show up geographically. There are demonic forces and demons that are assigned to geographic areas. They're assigned to different denominations. And I'm saying it like that. They're assigned to, oh, thank you so much, Bishop, but I'm well. They're assigned to different ethnic groups. You start seeing some repetitive things showing up in a certain ethnic group. Are y'all getting this today? These are all demonic hosts and forces that come and they get into the bloodline. And when they get into the bloodline, it trickles down from generation to generation. Y'all hearing me today? So we talk about how many people have fallen away from their faith. We talk about how many people have walked away as a result of the pandemic, how many people are on the edge. But one third of those who were in heaven with God, who worshiped him every single day, walked away. Why? At the influence of Satan. Come on. You got to understand that Satan has a lot of influence.